So I've been talking to quite a few Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro 7 users on iOS. And the most often asked question is, how do I create a progression using the app? Even further, Angelo on Facebook, what's up Angelo, sent me a Johnny Mandel song, A Time for Love. I think he probably got it from iRealPro or some other app like that. Anyways, his concerns were how difficult it would be to put those chords into Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro, to get that progression into our app. Well, Angelo, challenge accepted. Not only will I create the progression, but also show you how much you can learn when creating one. Remember, we're creating a full harmonic analysis of the song, and I think this is crucial. The amount of learning you will achieve is totally worth the effort of creating harmonic progressions in Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro. And it's easy. So just to make it more clear as to what I'm doing on the touchscreen, we're going to use these icons here. This one I'll use when I'm tapping on something. This I'll use when we're tapping and holding. And you'll see the original progression right here. So the first thing I'll do is start a new progression with the new button in the staff panel menu. That will bring up the song's header panel. Enter the name, A Time for Love, the composer, J. Mandel. This song is in 4/4, so that's already set. Now you can choose a layout template. Let's do 64 bars, straight 8-bar phrases, which is the closest to this song's form layout. The rest is not important. Save and close. So now I have a 64-bar straight empty chart. Make sure the edit button is on to start editing and close the menu by tapping outside. The song is in F, so I'll tap on the F key on the keyboard in the Maps menu to see the map in F. First chord is F major 7, the 1 major 7 as expected. Just tap on the F major 7 on the map to insert it into the score. If you tap it again, it will move 2 more beats forward. The next chord is E flat 7, the flat 7/7 in the dominant region. Very typical in jazz tunes, and I know it will probably resolve back to the 1. Now this E flat 7 has a bass in F, which is a pedal point with the bass on the previous chord. So instead of just tapping on the E flat 7, I'm tapping and holding to bring up the inversions panel for that chord and choosing pedal here. Click outside to close the panel and now tap on the E flat 7 to insert it. There it is, E flat 7 with the bass on F. The next chord is F6, the 1/6. I told you the flat 7/7 wants to resolve to the 1, and it did. This is an F6, not an F major 7, as the map is showing. So I tap and hold the F major 7 chord as I did before to bring up the chords panel and choose F6, which of course is Ionian. Just a 1/6. Close the panel by clicking outside and then tap on the F6 to add it. Now a G7. That's the 5/7 of 5, secondary dominant, right here. Then G minor 7 is the 2 minor 7 in F. Now with the bass in F, third inversion, bring the panel by tapping and holding and choose the heptagon, 7 sides, representing the 7th is in the bass. Now, 2/5 of 6, E minor 7 to A7, which is interesting because the expected 2 of 6 would be a minor 7 flat 5. So they're here in the secondaries of the 6 chord. E minor 7, A7. And now, you see, look at that. Now it's the correct 2 minor 7 flat 5 of 6, but this time it's a pedal point. So tap and hold, pedal point, tap outside to close the panel, and then tap on that E minor 7 flat 5 to insert the chord with the pedal point A on the bass. Where is this going? To the 6, I hope. And there it is, the 6. So tap on the 6. Now flat 7/7 again, this time in third inversion. So tap and hold, panel, heptagon, close the panel, and tap to insert it. Oops, I tapped twice. Let me erase that E flat 7 in root position. So tap and hold on the staff this time and use the erase chord tool to delete it. Let's tap on the next measure to move the cursor. Now comes an F7, the 5/7 of 4 in second inversion. Right here in the secondary of the 4. Tap and hold, pentagon for the second inversion, close the panel, and tap on the chord to insert it. G7. This is a really cool progression. See, the 5/7 of 4 is expected to resolve to the 4, B flat, or deceptively to the 2, G minor, because the 2 is the relative minor of the 4. But he is going to the 5 of 5, probably delaying the 2. The 5 of 5 is a great chord to delay a 2/5 because the 5 of 5 will resolve to the 5 eventually after the 2, which will work as an interpolated 2 chord. So G7, the 5 of 5, and then of course the 2, G minor 7. Cool, look at this, G minor 7 over F, third inversion. Why? Because he's not going to the 5 after all. Why? Because he's probably going to resolve deceptively to the 6 instead of the 1. Why? Because he's going to start another section of the song. So instead of using the 5/7, C7, to go back to the beginning, he's going to replace that C7 with the 2/5 of 6, which is E minor 7 flat 5, A7 flat 9. And that's why he uses the G minor 7 over F to get that bass line G, F, E. The rest of the process is exactly the same as we did it before. And as expected, D minor 7, the 6th chord. A7, the 5 of 6, and back to D minor, the 6, tonicizing that D minor. Okay, this D minor is preparing a modulation to C. So instead of the 6, I'm going to add it as a 2 of 5, because as expected, the next chord is G7, which is the 5 of 5, which should also resolve to the 5 or 5/7, C or C7. But it will resolve to C6, meaning the song is modulating to the key of C, which I've seen so many times in a jazz tune, the modulation to the key of the 5 chord. Okay, enter D minor here, then G7 as the 2 of the 5, and now we have to modulate. I'll use a pivot modulation on the G7, meaning the G7 is going to play 2 roles. The 5 of 5 in F, and just the 5 in C. So tap on the G7 we just entered in the chart, then change the map's key to C with the keyboard. And Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro will know you're interested in a modulation right here. And since there's a chord there already, the G7, it will let you choose what the role of that G7 will be in the new key. So you see, the map is showing all the possible roles a G7 might play in the key of C. We know it's the 5 of C, here in the dominant region. So I tap there, and the modulation is inserted. Now we're in the map of C. And the next chord is, of course, C6. Next is E7, so the 5/7 of 6. Mandel really liked this region of the 6, huh? Okay, in the chart it says E7 flat 13, but in Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro it says E7 flat 9. So it's wrong, you might say. In fact, Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro knows much better than that. If you look at the default chord scale for the 5/7 of 6, the app knows it should be Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13. A good player doesn't need to see the E7 flat 13. It's redundant. If you know your chord scale pairings, you know that that's the best scale for the 5/7 of 6. It is much better to see an E7 flat 9 that indicates, hey, this is the default chord scale for a dominant with a minor target, okay? This is the process that all the great musicians that you love understand completely. And it is, in part, why they are so great. And now, by using Mapping Tonal Harmony, you too can have the same understanding of this process. That E7 flat 9 resolves to the 6, A minor 7. Then A7, the 5 of 2, which goes to D minor, the 2 minor 7. then a 1 minor 6 borrowing from the minor mode. 2, 5 of 6. And now comes a nice technique. Parallel 2 5s using the sub 2 and sub 5. In Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro, these are very easy to see because the sub 2, sub 5 are on the opposite side of the 2 5. In the chart, it says C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7. But Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro is showing it as D flat minor 7 to G flat 7, which is more accurate. Usually charts show the easiest enharmonic spellings, and it's much easier to think C sharp minor than D flat minor, but theoretically, it is less accurate. So sub 2, sub 5, 7 of 4, and then the 2 5 of 4, G minor 7 to C 7. Now here's where we'll go back to the key of F. As you can see, the C7, the 5 of 4, is targeting the 4, which is F, which is also our starting key. And there it is, F major 7 as expected. So let's insert another pivot modulation. Tap on C7 in the chart, tap on the F key on the keyboard. The app shows the possible roles C7 will be playing in the key of F, which is the 5-7. So I'll tap here. We're back in the key of F. So F major 7, 1 major 7. Tap and hold. Get that F major 7 from the panel. Nothing new in the rest of the song. I'll just tap away the rest of the chords now that you know what I'm doing.
Okay, there you have it. We've entered the entire song. And I know this tutorial was a little lengthy, but that's only because I wanted to let you in and show you my entire mental process for how I go about doing things like this. So change the way you look at music forever. Get Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro today.